Your friend Meryl. I love her. Oh, but I don't know. I don't see her very often. She doesn't call. Okay. All right. Wherever I go, those men still haunt me because I will always hate what they did to me. When news of Diane Keaton's lonely and tragic death spread on October 11th, all of Hollywood was shaken. But what shocked the public even more was the final diary she left behind, where the legendary actress revealed the 5 men who caused her pain and heartbreak, and who in some way shaped the woman she became. These were the men Keaton could never forgive. Those who had directly insulted and belittled her. Who were the names that Diane Keaton despised for the rest of her life? Was it betrayal, control, or silent conflict? Let's uncover the list of 5 names. 1. Francis Ford Coppola, the man who always yelled at Keaton. In 1970, Diane Keaton stepped into a world she was completely unprepared for. The role of Kay Adams Corleone in The Godfather struck her like lightning, both the greatest opportunity of her young career and a silent nightmare. She once confessed in an interview with Fox News that she was terrified when she got the part, full of doubt as to why Coppola would place his trust in an actress who had never even read Mario Puzo's novel or held a full script before the audition. For Keaton, who considered herself suited to light comedic roles, the serious and layered character of Kay was far beyond her comfort zone. She stood in front of the dressing room mirror and asked herself, "Why me?" On set, the atmosphere was tense as a wire. Coppola, brilliant yet distant, managed everything with the precision of a strategist. Keaton, with her tousled brown hair and uncertain smile, could feel the distance between them. There were no warm conversations, no reassuring pats on the shoulder. She later recalled there was no poly-friendship between them. Coppola only spoke when dissatisfied, his voice curt. "Try this." Those dry commands made Keaton, already insecure, feel lost. Inside, she whispered, "I don't belong here." The cold New York filming days deepened her loneliness. While Al Pacino and James Caan were given powerful dramatic scenes, Kay seemed pushed into the shadows. As Michael Corleone's gentle, loyal wife, she had limited screen time. Though she never said it aloud, Keaton felt overlooked. She had heard whispers that Coppola wanted The Godfather to be a story about men, gangsters, smoke, and blood. Once, when she suggested adding more emotional depth to Kay, Coppola simply shook his head, his eyes saying, "Just do it my way." Disappointment built inside her, not only toward her role but toward how he favored the male characters. Keaton often shared that she felt isolated and insecure during filming. She recalled one scene from Part 2 where Coppola made her redo a take dozens of times, constantly criticizing that her emotions weren't deep enough. As an actress who thrived on improvisation and emotional spontaneity, she felt stifled by his rigid control. By the time of The Godfather Part 3, Keaton was a seasoned star, but Coppola's working style hadn't changed. Behind-the-scenes accounts show he remained extremely strict about how she portrayed Kay, who by then had become more assertive and independent. One source claimed Coppola criticized her performance as too eccentric for the tone of the film, which deeply hurt Keaton. She admitted it was hard to connect with his vision, as it felt like he didn't trust her acting instincts. Their relationship grew even more strained when she discovered he had never explained why he chose her in the first place. In a rare moment, years later, Coppola finally said he saw something deeper, funnier, and more interesting in her than the usual wife archetype. But at the time on set, Keaton never felt that trust. She only felt like a misplaced piece in his grand puzzle. Once during a break, she overheard Coppola talking with Pacino about the importance of Michael without a single mention of Kay. That moment felt like a knife to her pride. It wasn't that Keaton hated Coppola in a bitter sense. She acknowledged he was kind, a genius with remarkable vision. But that kindness wasn't enough to ease the feeling of being undervalued. She once confided to a friend that working with Coppola was like walking on a tightrope, always afraid of falling without anyone to catch you. That fear wasn't new. Keaton always felt anxious when starting new projects, asking herself, "Can I really do this?" But with The Godfather, that anxiety was amplified by the pressure of a demanding director and a story that seemed not written for her. a lesser-known but long-rumored story from Hollywood told of a late night on set. Exhausted after a long shoot, Keaton tried to approach Coppola to discuss Kay's character, hoping he would listen. But he, busy with technical details, merely nodded distractedly and walked away. That small moment made Keaton feel invisible, a performer without a presence. She never spoke of it again, but deep down she promised herself never to allow anyone to make her feel that small again. Years later, upon reflection, Keaton realized her resentment wasn't just toward Coppola, but toward the entire Hollywood system, one that often sidelined women, especially those over 40. The role of Kay, though pivotal in her career, remained a symbol of silent sacrifice, a dynamic Keaton despised both on screen and in life. She once said in an interview, "Men get to do the interesting things. Women are the boring ones." With Coppola, she held no personal grudge, but she could never forgive how he perhaps unintentionally reinforced that dynamic in The Godfather. 2. Warren Beatty, the lover she both loved and hated. After The Godfather, Diane Keaton stepped out of Kay Corleone's shadow with a fierce desire to prove she was an artist with her own voice. When Reds in 1981 came along, it felt like a tidal wave she couldn't resist. The epic film, directed, produced, co-written, and headlined by Warren Beatty, became a universe where art, ideals, and egos collided endlessly. Keaton portrayed Louise Bryant, a journalist and feminist activist swept up in the storm of revolution and love. The role earned her an Oscar nomination, but behind that shining success were months of tension, exhaustion, and inner conflict between love and self-determination. From the first camera test, Keaton sensed Beatty's magnetic pull. He entered the set like a center of gravity, and everyone seemed to orbit him. Warren always knew what he wanted, she recalled with a hint of bitterness. The problem was he also believed he knew what everyone else needed. Beatty's working style was a mix of genius and obsession. He could demand retakes 20, even 100 times, simply because Keaton's eyes didn't match the emotional rhythm he envisioned. "Let's do it again," he would say, calm yet absolute. After the 30th take, Diane would stay silent, swallowing her frustration to preserve the moment's authenticity. "I understood his pursuit of perfection," she admitted, "but sometimes that perfection kills the soul of the moment." Once, during a long dialogue scene, Beatty suddenly stopped her midline to adjust the position of her hand. Diane paused, looked at him for a few seconds, and softly asked, "Do you want me to be Louise, or just the shadow in your imagination?" The set fell silent. Beatty said nothing, merely signaled to roll again. As the camera started, Keaton felt both defeated and victorious. Defeated by his control, but victorious for daring to reclaim her space. Their relationship burned with both passion and cracks. "We loved each other when the camera stopped and argued when they started," Keaton once said. Love resembled Reds itself, grand, intense, and exhausting. While Beatty reveled in his role as the leader, Diane began to feel pushed to the sidelines like a satellite spinning beyond her control. One cold night, after a long day's shoot, Keaton approached Beatty. "Do you ever think this film isn't just yours?" she asked softly but firmly. Beatty looked up and smiled, the smile of a man who always believed he was right. "Of course, it's yours too," he said. "But I have to keep it on course." Diane said nothing. Under the dim studio lights, she realized their once vibrant love was slowly turning into a battle of egos. Their relationship lasted from 1978 to 1983, years of both passion and pain. Some rumors claimed Beatty proposed to her, but Keaton refused, unwilling to sacrifice her freedom. After that, he grew more distant, more demanding on set. "I think he couldn't stand not being able to control me,"